What's up, guys? It's Bianca of BiancaRoberts.com back again, and the subject of today's video is my 6-month update for apartment locating. I have a lot of tea to spill, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned. I'm going to be really transparent in this video. I always try to be honest, but then I also don't want to be super negative about real estate in general and the industry, because I know that new agents are watching my videos. And if you don't know anything about me, just really quickly, I have been a licensed real estate agent in Texas for the last 17 years. And I have put my license on the shelf many times over the last 17 years. So I've been active and then inactive and then active again. And so I have a love-hate relationship with real estate. I feel like I have what would I call a toxic relationship with real estate. I started apartment locating in June of this year. The purpose or the function of this video is to tell you some things. I don't know if you can even feel my energy is a little bit different than it normally is on some of these videos. Do I still enjoy apartment locating? Yes. Do I still think it's the easiest thing you can do in real estate to start with? Yes. But let me tell you, child, I gotta tell you some real deal tea. In my system, it will show me how much a particular apartment will be paying for a commission. And apartments do that on purpose because if they have a low occupancy rate, meaning they want a whole bunch of people to be in their apartments, but they're kind of running low, there's a lot of available apartments, then they will advertise a particular commission amount to entice real estate agents to send over clients. But child, let me tell you the shadiness that goes on with the apartments. And when I say shadiness, for example, a client wants to lease a $1,200 apartment. In the system, it says that the apartment will pay 100% commission. So that means a $1,200 commission will go to me because I referred the client over to that particular apartment. What I have noticed, and this is not just exclusive to me, is that sometimes when a client goes over to an apartment, what will happen is the client will sign, for example, an 11-month lease. And if you look in the system, an 11-month lease either doesn't qualify the locator for commission, or it reduces the commission to say 75%. So in your mind, you're thinking the client went over to the apartment and signed a 12-month lease. Well, we reach out to the apartment, we're sending in an invoice, we're saying we're ready to get paid, and then all of a sudden they produce this information that says the client didn't sign a 12-month lease, they signed an 11-month lease. That is shadiness. Has it just happened to me? No. But again, I'm trying to tell y'all the real deal about the back end of this business and answer some of the questions that I can constantly get, like, how do we get paid? How do you guarantee that the client will write your name down? And to be perfectly honest, you cannot guarantee what commission you're going to get. You can write that information on your notes. You can take a screenshot of it from the software. You can do all of that stuff. You can even keep record of you sending the client over to an apartment. But the other shadiness that happens with apartments is, so let's say today is Monday. On Monday, they're soliciting to have people come over and send clients to them. Well, you send clients to them on Tuesday, and then all of a sudden on Tuesday, they're like, oh, we're not paying commissions anymore, or we're not working with locators anymore. That is some shady stuff. Again, I'm trying to be honest about what I've noticed about parts of this business that I really truly don't like. But when I compare working with a buyer, driving around with them for 6 months or whatever to find a house, negotiating the property, doing all of that, and then at the end of the day, getting maybe a $5,000 commission, in my mind, I still remember that grind. And I'd rather take working with shady apartments and kind of carving out my way and figuring out what apartments that I won't send clients to. I would rather do that than what I just described to you. Again, if you think about the commission structure, we as real estate agents, we don't set the commission structure. And I've had multiple people ask me, well, how do you get paid? You get paid by whatever the particular apartment advertises. So, in my area, there's a lot of new construction. Typically, when an apartment complex is newly constructed, they throw everything at the book to get agents to send clients over to them. So new construction is something that my office and like my team kind of focuses on a lot because they pay 100% commission, 125% commission, 150% commission to send clients to them. So if you're going to leverage your time and your efforts, obviously a good place to go or a good place to focus on would be sending people to new construction. Again, I'm trying to tell y'all like all of the ins and outs, all of like the real crappy, not good stuff that I have learned. Now, the last point that has really put a bad taste in my mouth about apartment locating, but again, I am not going to stop because it's work I do from home. So, I mean, I make money from home. I'm not tripping. The last thing that's annoying to me about apartment locating, and I know it's not exclusive to me, and I know because I talk to other agents in my office, is that clients will ghost you after they've got what they needed. So what I mean by that is a client will go to an apartment, they'll write your name down like they're supposed to on the application, they write your name down on the guest card, they got their apartment and they move in. But when you follow back up with them, they like don't reply to anything that you said. And you would think, well, you help them if they have like a broken lease, for example. You help them figure out which apartment complex would approve them for the broken lease. You would think that they would follow back up with you and tell you, hey, I moved into this apartment. But what I have found over and over again, and I've told some of the people in my office, is that's not necessarily the case. You can send them an application with your name on it filled out in advance. We all talk about all these different tricks and things that we try to do to get the client to write our name down. But that part of it is a bit of a pain. But what I personally find is more of a pain is that they will go ahead and write your name down, but don't communicate with you and tell you that they got approved. And so the reason I think they may do that is in their mind, they might think that you as the locator, you are affiliated with that particular apartment in some way, and that apartment is automatically going to mail you a check. But that is not how it works. We have no idea after we've sent a client, for example, I'll send a client maybe 8 properties, maybe 10. I have no idea if the client actually applied for a place and or got approved or denied unless they tell me. So I still have people that have given me glowing reviews online For example, a lady that I talked to in October, she gave me the most beautiful review. She emailed me and said, "I'm so happy. Thank you so much. I got approved for this apartment, and I had 3 broken leases on my record." And I'm like, holy crap, that's awesome. So I replied back to her and I said, "Well, what apartment did you move into?" Crickets. I text her, "What apartment did you move into?" She gives me this beautiful review about moving into an apartment in Austin, and I still have no idea what apartment she moved into. I still had no idea that she was even going to apply to any of the apartments I sent to her on the list. So that is a huge negative for this business, because unless you are physically going with their client to an apartment, making sure that you know what apartment it is that they're applying for, you know exactly to the T, it can suck. And again, I want to tell you the honest truth behind it, because if I went along and was like, everything was hunky-dory or whatever, and then you got into the business and you're like, well, what about this and what about that? Then you'd be like, okay, she lied, or she didn't tell me the negatives. And I think far too many people get online, or they watch shows on TV that they see like Selling Sunset, and they think real estate is just so glamorous, so honky-dory, and you make all this money. I still prefer working from home. I still prefer working with apartment locating clients. But these things that I listed out in this video are truly the biggest pain in the butt about this business. So again, to answer some of the questions, you do not choose the apartment commission, because I get that question so many times from agents. You can try to direct people to apartments that you know pay locators, but it's kind of like a moving target in a way, because again, one minute they say they pay locators and then the next minute they don't. So you're sending people sometimes to apartments that play this game of, well, today we're paying locators and then tomorrow we're not. And so it's your responsibility as the agent to contact the apartment and make sure that they are still paying locators commissions, because if they're not, you're working for free. And then the last thing that, again, I want to be super honest about is that you're not necessarily even going to get money from any of this stuff if you don't have a good follow-up system. I'm going to link below my CRM. Once I started using a customer relationship manager, I started following back up with people a little bit more regularly. But it's crazy to me the number of people that have taken my apartment list, written my name down like they're supposed to, moved into a place, and have not told me that they've moved in at all. Again, there's no way that I know of the 10 properties which one they're going to apply for unless they tell me, because the apartment is not going to just look at my name on the form and say, oh, let me mail you a check, because they're doing shady stuff like saying one day we pay locators and one day the next day we don't. That in itself, it can be enough to burn somebody out, because if you're talking to a whole bunch of people, you're getting a whole bunch of no-shows, the apartments are telling you that they pay commissions one minute and then the next minute they don't, and you have people who are putting your name down on the application and then moving in and then totally ghosting you because they got what they wanted. They got to move into the apartment. So you're sitting there like, okay, I feel like I'm a good person because I'm helping people, especially with the second chance market, but it's not worth my time if they're not even going to tell me where they moved in. So I didn't want this video to be super, super negative, although I feel like it kind of is at this point, but I really, truly wanted to be honest about it. Have I worked with clients where I've talked to them for 30 minutes and I got a $1,700 check out of that 30-minute conversation? Absolutely, that has happened. But here lately, I've just noticed that the quality of people is not where I would like it to be. But I personally feel like someone needs to help people who need second chances. And I always think of the saying, no good deed goes unpunished. I talked to this lady and I had tears in my eyes because she was explaining to me how she had a broken lease that was preventing her from getting an apartment here in Texas. She had moved from Mississippi. She's staying in an extended stay hotel with her husband and 3 kids. And she's like, we have got to get out of this extended stay thing. And it really choked me up because it's right before Christmas. And I said, I'm going to make it my mission to get this lady into a property. So I started calling places. I started double checking. I said, okay, let me make sure that before I send her and she spends her hard-earned money on putting in an application fee, let me make sure that I send her to the right place that will approve her. I'm texting her back and forth. We're talking. She did her 15-minute consultation. She showed up. That was all good. And then at the 11th hour, after I start sending her places, then she says, oh, by the way, I have a bankruptcy. And I'm like, you didn't tell me you had a bankruptcy. Because in my system, I have the ability to sort by apartments that accept issues. If you tell me the truth, you tell me all the issues up front, then I can point you to the correct places. So anyway, my mouth dropped when she told me she had a bankruptcy. And I was like, well, the places that I sent you will not be valid anymore because those places don't accept bankruptcies. So there was one property, and I missed the line in the system that said this particular property accepted bankruptcies. So when I had already sent her the list, she went ahead and had already applied. Then she replies back to me and says, I got approved. I am so overjoyed that she gets approved. I'm like, oh my gosh, this lady is going to be able to move in right before Christmas, like 5 days before Christmas, based on this apartment list that I sent her. So then I say, well, just give me the final details. Like, I called the apartment and the apartment said that she was approved with conditions. So then that concerned me. So I reached out to her via text and I said, they're not allowed to tell me all the ins and outs, but can you tell me what the approved with conditions means? And she told me. And so then I'm like, okay, cool. So what day do you move in? What lease term did you sign for? Crickets. She didn't reply to me at all. I sent her another message. Didn't reply to me at all. And I'm sitting here thinking, I was tears in my eyes. I'm describing this lady to people. And I'm like, I'm going to get her in a place. She gets a place. She gets approved. And all I was asking her for was to give me the details on how much she signed the lease for and when she was going to move in. And she didn't reply to me at all. So I had to tell you that story. There are many more stories that I could tell you. And again, I don't want it to seem like, oh my God, this is terrible. But this is why I have a lot of other things that I do, like affiliate marketing, because affiliate marketing pays me monthly, day in and day out, whether I sign an apartment locating client or not. But I had to be 100% honest with you and tell you all the greasy, nasty butt pieces of this business, so that if you decided to go into it and I may have totally scared you off, then you could be like, okay, well, Bianca actually told me the real deal. Now, one of the things that I do differently than I see a lot of people do, not only with apartment locating, but like with real estate in general, is I focus more on being a solution person. I am a person who's more interested in attracting clients to me who are interested in working with me, and I'm going to solve their problem. So what problem is that? I have to explain to you really quickly that as a service provider, that's literally what you are supposed to be doing on the internet. As a service provider, you say, "Hey, Mr. Customer, hey, Mrs. Customer, this is your problem and I can help you with that." A lot of people in the real estate industry do not perform or do not market themselves as service providers. So what I mean by that is typically in the real estate industry, people parade properties in front of clients. And especially in the apartment locating industry, that's very, very popular. So what I mean is someone will flash a photo of a property. They will say this property leases for $1,200 a month. And that's how they try to grab leads. That's how they try to get people to contact them. Well, I decided I'm going to flip that on its head. And instead of me parading a bunch of properties all over my social media, I function as a service provider, specifically for the second chance market. And what do I mean by the second chance market? The second chance market is for people who have had issues in the past and they need a second chance. Maybe someone who has had a broken lease or an eviction, or someone who has some type of an issue that would prevent them from being approved from an apartment or buy an apartment. So when I got online, I was like, I know exactly how to market this business. I know exactly what to do to explode my business, and I did. A lot of apartment locators are anonymous. They don't show their face. They run ads online. They'll parade pictures of apartments. They'll post them up in free groups. And I don't feel comfortable marketing my business that way, and I'll tell you why. The reason that I do not approach my business with showing just generic photos of properties and enticing people to call me about those particular properties is because whenever they see that ad, that property may not be available anymore. That property's price may have changed. And so I'm baiting them into contacting me based upon a generic photo of a property. And in my opinion, people do not connect with things, they connect with other people. So I decided, you know what? I am going to flip this whole thing on its head. I'm not going to do like everyone else does. Now, if you go to my social media, you will see a couple of properties I've posted up. And I'll be honest with you, the only time I've posted those properties has been basically when I'm being lazy. Whenever you come to my page and you see a particular property and you see a price on it or whatever, I do that occasionally. But I kind of use that as filler content in between me doing what I have proven to myself works. So what I mean by that is a lot of people will contact you if you post a particular property. And let's just say you say, this property is $700. Contact me now. And they're going to go ahead and contact you. But what happens is once you explain to them the details of that particular property, it doesn't fit their needs. And they were only contacting you for that one property. And then they're kind of done with you. They don't want to talk to you anymore. They've gone on about their business. The reason that I don't like that approach to marketing, especially real estate, is because they don't feel compelled to contact you because you're going to help them. They feel compelled to contact you because they saw that pretty photo of that property. Where I decided I'm not going to promote myself that way. I'm going to address the problems that people will have when they need a property. And my additional cheat code is basically because I work with the second chance market. If you go online and you look at any particular apartment locator, Typically, they don't show anything that has to do with themselves. They show properties, they post properties day in and day out and day in and day out. Now, if that works for them, great. So one of the things that I used as a cheat code was just getting online and saying, hey, do you need to move quickly? Do you have a broken lease? Do you have credit issues? When you physically tell people, I can help you with these issues, then of course they're going to raise their hand and be like, ooh, yes, I have these issues. So I was able to explode my business in less than 2 weeks when I just got on TikTok. I told people this is what I can help you with. Immediately, I had so many people contacting me that I could not keep up with the volume. So from there, I adopted a calendar system so I could get all of these appointments organized, and so that I would not be under this blanket of just email after email, DM after DM, even though none of my marketing message said, please DM me. Because I adopted a calendar system, then I was able to streamline things, make it more professional. People had to request an appointment to meet with me, and then I would be able to schedule out my day. So I know, okay, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., I'm going to be meeting with clients. I have loved the calendar system. So I've had a lot of people no-show me. I don't know if it's because of the time of year, like right now it's around Christmas time, but my no-shows have really lately gone through the roof. And so I can have a day where I will sit and wait for, I'll say, just say I have 15 appointments. Some days of the 15, maybe 4 will show up. And so I started thinking like, well, are they not getting the reminder appointments? Like, what is going on? But I noticed the people who come to me for marketing help are much more responsive. They get their 24-hour notice email. They send me an email, say, I'm excited about our appointment. I can't wait to meet. Then they'll get their 1 hour appointment because my system sets up to remind them in 1 hour that we're supposed to meet. And then they click on the appointment and they go about their business. But what I noticed is with the second chance, and let me say this again, with the second chance people who want my help for apartments, the second chance people are not reliable at all. Because I decided to approach my marketing in a different way, instead of just parading apartments in front of people and giving them a dollar amount, and made it so that they had to reach out to me. One of the negative things about it is the volume of no-shows that I've been getting here recently. And I believe that is because the market that I am attaching myself to or promoting is second chance. One of the team leaders at the company that I work with, she told me when I started, don't try to help everyone or you're going to burn yourself out. I absolutely received that from her. I was like, okay, got it. Don't try to help everybody. And I really didn't quite understand it until now. It's like almost the 6-month mark that I've been doing it, and I realized that I have been very burned out. The market that I attached myself to on TikTok is really young. And I think that has a lot to do with it as well. They're not respectful of my time. They don't show up at all some days, or they'll show up when I've already canceled the appointment, because on my calendar I say, if you don't show up after 5 minutes, then I'm going to disconnect the call and move on. And I truly do mean that. And the reason I do that is because I only allot 15 minutes for the call. The reason I only allot 15 minutes is because I ask a pretty detailed amount of questions before they schedule, so that I know whether or not I can really help them. And what I've been doing is I've been reviewing the things that they say on the calendar appointments. And if it really does not line up and I really know that I can't help them, then I just go ahead and cancel the appointment and I send them a reason like, hey, I'm canceling this appointment because based upon what you've entered here for your income and what you're looking for, I'm not going to be able to help you with that. And so doing that has kind of alleviated some of my wasted time. But I'm going to be very honest with you. I have wasted a lot of time. And personally, I feel like I've wasted a lot of time because I specifically target the second chance market. Now, does that mean I'm going to quit doing apartment locating and I'm like, screw this, forget it? I still think it's one of the easiest things I've ever done in real estate. But I wanted to make this part of this video lengthier because I really truly believe that if I wasn't necessarily targeting the second chance market, I would have a lot more people that would show up for the appointments. Just the other day, I decided to start texting. Are you going to be on the call? Because I do not want to sit here all day if no one's going to come on the call, right? So one by one, I started texting people. And one lady even said, she was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to move anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, heifer, if you had just canceled the appointment. Now, there are people who really genuinely are professional and they do cancel the appointment when they get the reminder. Some of them only cancel it like an hour before when they get the 1 hour mark reminder. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's the nature of the business. But to not show up altogether, knowing that they get a 24-hour reminder, knowing that they get a 1 hour reminder is really, really, truly frustrating to me. And then I have the people who are just flat out liars. Again, I don't want to. My philosophy is this. I think everyone deserves a second chance. And I don't want to lump everyone into one bucket and be like, oh, the second chance people, they don't show up for their appointments. They're liars, the whole thing. But I want to be truly transparent and honest with you about the quality of the second chance people who reach out to me. And one of the things that has really annoyed me, again, is the no-shows. They may think, I'm just their homegirl because I do silly stuff on TikTok to make them reach out to me. They're the ones scheduling the appointments. They're the one picking the slots. They literally are not showing up. What I have decided, effective today, is that I'm going to start charging a $25 consultation fee. What I'm doing or what I'm providing as a service really is premium compared to what other people are doing. Other people are just throwing up apartments, letting those apartments stick, and then tricking people into becoming a lead. So the person will call about that property and be like, hey, I saw this property for $1,200. And then that's how their system goes. Whereas what I am doing is I am saying, I can help you with these problems. You get on a call with me face to face. We get to talk for 15 minutes, and then I'll send you a property list. That technically really is a premium service, and I should probably be charging more than $25. I'm well aware that people can go to any other real estate agent and pick them, but what I'm hoping will happen since I've decided to adopt a $25 fee is that it will reduce the volume of people that even schedule in the first place, and it dang sure should reduce the no-shows. But if you pay $25 up front to have a consultation with me and you don't show up, then you just don't show up. But the other little caveat to this is if someone leases a property and they get approved and they lease a property that's at least $1,200, then I'll give them a $200 rebate. So they're not out that $25. That's a policy that I decided to adopt today. Again, if no one else wants to schedule an appointment with me, I will move on with my life and just take whatever leads my broker gives, because this entire 6-month period that I've been doing this business, even though my broker provides leads, I've never tapped into my broker's lead pool. I don't even know what quality of leads that my broker will be providing, and see if that changes anything. Again, today, as I'm recording this video, I've already adopted the $25 consultation fee, and it is live on my calendar. And I'm just going to let it roll. Now, I've said a lot about no-shows. I'm just, again, telling you the real deal. So until next time, I really hope that I haven't scared you all off. If you like this type of content, please give it a thumbs up. Share with your friends, and I will see you next time.